joy, sorrow, anger, and fear. Emotions in this world are not merely invisible things hidden deep within the heart. Those with emotional sight can see them as masses of emotion floating above every person's head. Those emotional masses are double-edged swords. If controlled, they grant people superhuman abilities beyond imagination. But if emotion exceeds its limit, the mass explodes, devours the person's humanity, and turns them into a hideous, bloodthirsty monster. In a world where everyone must guard their own heart, Thuong Mac is a strange exception. True to his name, he is a young man whose expression never changes. Insults provoke no reaction, and even when beaten until he bleeds, his eyes remain still as a dead lake. Everyone assumes he was born emotionless, a soulless machine. He thinks so too. Yet Thuong Mac does not know that whenever someone with emotional sight looks above his head, they collapse to their knees and tremble in absolute terror. What floats above this seemingly emotionless young man is not an ordinary emotional mass, but a colossal mental bomb 1,000 times larger than anyone else's, vast enough to cover the sky. Without further delay, our story begins. Welcome to a world so quiet. No, so insane, that everyone is screaming. People have gone mad, slaughtering one another, devouring others, and stealing power. Amid this burning chaos, only one scholarly young man calmly turns the pages of a book and thinks, I may be the only sane person left. Just look at the gigantic monster rampaging behind him. In a mad world, is remaining sane truly a blessing? The cause of this disaster is that for the past 30 years, humanity has gradually lost control of its emotions. It is an illness known as emotional disease. The scene shifts to a Sky Art department gathering. Instead of happily raising glasses, everyone is shouting, why isn't this wine chilled? And this watermelon still has seeds. Art director Zhang Yinfei explodes in rage. You cannot even organize one rare gathering properly. Why don't you just die? Art assistant Wu Jing is equally fierce. Eat it or don't, you impossible nitpicker. Why don't you die instead? Their verbal battle becomes so intense that bystanders can hardly endure it. Aren't you too tired? Fighting even during a party. Are you sick? You're arguing too. Stay out of it. Acting as a peace envoy, artist Thuong Mac steps forward and raises his hands. Everyone calm down. Director Zhang, I'll replace the wine and watermelon. Wu Jing, I apologize on Director Zhang's behalf. Everyone, please calm down. Instead of thanks, Director Zhang smashes a wine bottle over his head and roars, what the hell does this have to do with you? The bottle shatters, scattering glass across the floor before everyone. The entire room freezes, mouths open in shock at the sudden violence. Director Zhang stands motionless in the darkness, his bloodshot eyes radiating killing intent. His twisted face looks no different from that of a monster losing control. Yet Thuong Mac remains unnaturally calm despite blood streaming down his face. It's fine. As long as everyone calms down, I'm truly all right. Our department rarely gathers like this, so let's enjoy ourselves. Around him, panic erupts. What have I done? Little Thuong, are you all right? I'm sorry. Idiot, take him to the hospital. Thuong Mac merely wipes away the blood and walks through the flashing lights, leaving the stunned crowd behind. Deep Lai, the co-worker who often flirts with him, approaches and pats his shoulder in admiration. That's all. How can you endure so much? Pressing a tissue to his forehead, Thuong Mac answers helplessly, I have no choice. I'm the only somewhat normal person in this department. Besides, can't you see it? So that is the secret. The reason people lose control is that they become excessively emotional. Recalling the past, young Thuong Mac looks upward innocently. When I was 10, I saw my first blood tumor. It was growing above my mother's head. At first, he believed his father's death had traumatized him into hallucinating. But afterward, his mother began losing her temper more frequently. His father's gravestone read, born May 15, 2000, died May 11, 2034. In memory of our loving father, erected by his devoted son Thuong Mac. Whenever his mother became angry, the blood tumor grew larger. And the larger it became, the more terrifying her rage. Then tragedy struck. He later learned that once the tumor reached a certain size, it exploded, and the person's head exploded with it. From then on, Thuong Mac never allowed himself to become angry. He believed this was the truth of emotional disease, and that suppressing emotion was the only way to avoid infection. Back in the noisy present, the mad co-workers continue insulting one another. Do you not have a brain? Are you sick in the head? Thuong Mac thinks wearily. They're fighting again. What a collection of lunatics. Worse, the situation is critical. Director Zhang's blood tumor is about to explode. He screams, "Say that again. I dare you." The other person refuses to back down. "I'll say it. You're an idiot." Thuong Mac silently watches, utterly speechless. Eventually, he sighs and approaches the chaos. I should make him calm down. Deep Lie calls after him in surprise. I thought you did not care whether they lived or died. Adjusting his glasses, Thuong Mac gives the practical answer of an office worker who hates trouble. I don't particularly care, but if someone dies, it will be very. At that moment, Director Zhang's head suddenly explodes in a shower of blood. Thuong Mac only finishes with an exhausted comment. Troublesome. His expression remains unchanged while Deep Lie stares in astonishment behind him. Then brilliant flames erupt from the severed neck. The ghostly fire shoots toward the ceiling and covers the headless corpse like an erupting volcano. Thuong Mac narrows his eyes behind his glasses, noticing something deeply abnormal. Inside the surging flames, a hideous monster's face with jagged teeth gradually appears. The fire monster roars wildly and releases pressure that throws everyone backward. Thuong Mac's mouth twitches as he mutters in confusion, "A monster." A large co-worker still shows no fear and shouts, "You think some loud noises will scare me?" Before he can finish, the monster lunges and delivers a merciless flaming blow. Only then does the crowd flee in terror. Director Zhang killed someone. He's truly insane. Run. Amid the chaos, Thuong Mac remains rooted in place, questioning why this happened. Why did Zhang's blood tumor explode? And why did he become a monster? Painful memories return. He asks bitterly, "Then why did my mother die?" Suddenly, Deep Lie grabs his hand and pulls him away. "Let's go." As they run, she reveals a shocking truth. When a blood tumor explodes, the person does not die. They transform into an emotional monster. Most are completely controlled by their own monster, but can also use its supernatural power to release their emotions freely. Behind them, screams ring out. It's burning. Where did this fire come from? Thuong Mac stops and demands seriously, "If that is true, why did my mother die?" Deep Lie answers with strange calmness, "Do not worry. It is probably about to happen." Director Zhang, now a towering fire monster, roars amid the blazing inferno. At the height of its fury, the flames suddenly explode into black liquid fragments. Director Zhang's headless body drops to the cold floor, ending everything as abruptly as a joke. People gape and rub their eyes. Did you see that? Zhang's head suddenly exploded, and then the fire went out. Thuong Mac realizes the difference. They cannot see it. Deep Lie shrugs. Correct. Ordinary people generally cannot see emotional monsters, neither Zhang's transformation nor the monster that ate him. The cruel truth is exposed. This is how his mother died. Like Zhang, she transformed into an emotional monster and was controlled by it, only to become food for another emotional monster. At last, all of Thuong Mac's doubts are answered. He lowers his eyes and murmurs, "So that is what happened." But Deep Lie interrupts to correct the bitter truth. More precisely, she became food for someone capable of controlling their own emotional monster. A blazing lifelink stretches through the air as Deep Lie explains that an emotional monster remains connected to its owner. You can find him easily. A trail of ghostly fire leads directly to a suited man leisurely holding a glass of wine and wearing a perverse smirk. Childhood memories return. Young Thuong Mac stands at a doorway while someone asks, "Little Mac, is your mother not home yet?" The innocent boy politely called him Brother Little Lee. The stylish man before him is no stranger. He was once his neighbor. Deep Lie clicks her tongue. Your former neighbor is now a very important person. His public identity is vice chairman of Way International. In the shadows, he is a sentient being who controls his own emotional monster. Deep Lie exposes his method. He deliberately spreads an anger emotion virus, causing people to lose control and contract emotional disease. Once they transform, he hunts them and steals their power. Loss of control, infection, transformation, then predation. Looking down at the panicked hall, the truth becomes clear. Everyone entered his hunting ground from the beginning. The confused crowd still does not understand Zhang's death. How could this happen? Should we call the police? Yet that is not the worst part. Deep Lie narrows her eyes and speaks each word coldly. According to my investigation, the first person he hunted was your mother. Thuong Mac's eyes widen as the final pieces connect. His mother suddenly lost control because that man infected her with the anger virus. She died because he controlled his emotional monster and devoured her, destroying their family. Everything happened because of him. Through the glass, Deep Lee's gaze locks onto the cigar-smoking man below. The room grows heavy as the two stare down at the villain's blood-soaked stage. Instead of screaming for revenge, Thuong Mac analyzes calmly. So only those who transform into emotional monsters become his targets, because he wants their power. Correct? Deep Lie blinks. Yes. Folding his arms like an employee giving a report, he concludes, I cannot contract emotional disease and cannot transform, so I cannot be his prey. Thuong Mac turns and walks away despite Deep Lie calling after him. You're leaving? He killed your mother. Adjusting his glasses, he replies like an office worker avoiding trouble. He has supernatural powers and kills without hesitation. I will not throw away my life. Besides, everything you said is only your side of the story. Watching his cold back, Deep Lie whispers, so calm. But why do you believe you are not sick? Thuong Mac's steps stop. He turns halfway and asks with a frown, what do you mean? Deep Lie raises her face, deep eyes fixed on him. A gigantic shadow monster covered in countless red eyes suddenly towers behind Thuong Mac. You are the most severely ill person here. The second cruel truth falls. Lu Lie's true prey was always Thuong Mac, the person he most desired to see transform and devour. As if summoned by his name, the perverse former neighbor suddenly appears beside Thuong Mac's shoulder, smiling horribly. Little Mac, long time no see. You've grown so much. He casually puts an arm around him. Despite the suffocating atmosphere, Thuong Mac remains expressionless and brushes the hand away. Sorry, you have mistaken me for someone else. The man laughs. You always joke. Let us properly reminisce. Leaning close, he smiles wickedly. This may be rude, but could you become a little angry for me? The moment he finishes, he kicks Thuong Mac with enough force to send him flying several meters. His body skids across the polished floor, leaving deep scratches. The co-workers stare. What happened? That man just hit little Thuong. Anger rises throughout the office. Director Zhang just died, and this bastard comes looking for trouble? Beat him to death. Deep Lie runs over and helps Thuong Mac up. Are you all right? Holding his aching ribs, he answers stubbornly, I'm fine. Watching his prey with folded arms, Lu Lie clicks his tongue in disappointment. No matter how much I hit him, he will not become angry. You must not care about yourself. Then the elegant man raises his hand and snaps his fingers. Ghostly flames immediately ignite on the shoulders of innocent co-workers. The invisible fire swells rapidly, consuming them as their shadows writhe inside towering flames. Ordinary people cannot see the monsters and only panic at the fire. What is happening? Another fire. Stay away, maybe a gas leak. Call the police. Standing amid the distorted flames, the villain laughs and targets Thuong Mac's weakness. If your co-workers are hurt, will you become angry? His poisonous words enter Thuong Mac's ears. They usually treat you rather well, don't they? Memories flash of a kind female co-worker. You're only 18 and already working? Want me to introduce you to someone? I have a younger sister in university. If you don't mind, perhaps you two could become a couple. She's only a little older than you. I'm joking. Another cheerful co-worker waves. Little Thuong, let's eat together today. He remembers their generous protection at work. I've already paid. You just started working, so you don't need to. Now, among the cruel flames devouring human lives, only broken cries remain. Little Thuong, hurry. One desperate scream pierces the chaos. Run, but it is already too late. Thuong Mac sits blankly on the floor, staring at the charred bodies of his co-workers scattered around the villain. The enemy smiles triumphantly. What is wrong? Everything has become ash, yet you remain indifferent? Can you truly endure this much? But he is not fooled. Pointing at the enormous shadow covering Thuong Mac, he says, your blood tumor of anger has grown considerably. He clicks his tongue as though playing with a mouse. There is no hurry. We can take our time. I have not even told him that I killed his mother too. Let us see how long he can endure. Darkness covers Thuong Mac's face as he lowers his head and silently bears it. Behind the glittering lenses, Thuong Mac's gaze hardens. He knows he is not truly as calm as he appears. Memories flash through his mind. Noisy people, co-workers repeatedly losing control, strangers causing trouble for no reason. His fist tightens until it bleeds as he suppresses overwhelming rage. He has always wanted to explode and tear them apart, but his hand slowly relaxes. He never acted on it. He understands the cause. Emotional disease means people's irritability is not always intentional. Their guilt after each outburst reminds him of his mother, who always cried in remorse. Every time anger overwhelmed her, she lost reason and drowned in emotion, leaving only regret. That is why Thuong Mac has always chained himself with reason. But facing the murderer standing proudly amid the flames, he wonders whether he still needs restraint. Blood vessels rise in his eyes beneath the glasses. He wants to become a monster of rage and tear the killer apart for his mother. He strikes the floor in frustration. Would that not be good? Then why? Thuong Mac turns to Deep Lie. Why am I still not transforming even though I am this angry? She answers coldly. If you transform, you will be killed. His logic goes another way. If I do not transform, won't I still be killed? It may be better to go mad and fight. Deep Lie lowers her eyes and searches for the right words. She finally says, this may be difficult to accept in your current state, but transforming is completely impossible for you. Thuong Mac freezes, staring at the floor in confusion. His mind empties, and a weak denial escapes him. Why? In the distance, Lu Lai continues provoking him. Still talking to yourself? Trying to convince yourself? Losing patience, he launches a flaming kick. Looks like I must teach you a lesson. All sounds suddenly fade. Thuong Mac's mind repeats one phrase. Talking to yourself. His pupils contract as realization flashes through him. He whirls around. Deep Lie, the co-worker who had stood beside him all this time, is now only a dark, illusory shadow fading into nothingness. Long black hair and a ghostly blue aura gradually take shape. A mysterious red smile appears. You finally noticed. Fine, I will stop teasing you. The shadow becomes a beautiful, enigmatic woman. She says proudly, from the beginning, only you could see me. Thuong Mac stares in shock. Her true face is completely different. At the same time, Lu Lai attacks with another flaming kick. Thuong Mac flips backward and avoids it as the blow shatters the floor. The mysterious woman continues explaining why he cannot transform now. Lu Lai's expression changes to terror. Behind Thuong Mac stands an enormous armored monster bound in countless chains. From the moment you saw me, I infected you and turned you into an emotional monster called Reason. The monster of Reason floats in the air, its blue aura overwhelming the flames. Sweating, Lu Lai stammers at the chains, restraints, and black hole face. I have never seen an emotional monster like this. What is it? Thuong Mac kneels and looks up at the giant figure. This is my emotional monster? Can reason itself be considered an emotion? If I transformed long ago, why can I only see it now? More importantly, he turns toward the alluring woman floating nearby. He had believed she was a co-worker. Who was the woman who infected him? She smiles knowingly. You must have many questions, but they cannot be answered quickly. For now, know that reason is the most special emotion. The monster raises a black hole palm. Reason can suppress every other emotion, including Lu Lai's anger. As for why Thuong Mac could not see his own monster before, the principle is simple. He could see it only after learning that it existed. Lu Lai analyzes the situation. Thuong Mac's monster remains far from its host, meaning he has not become its slave. Instead, he has become a sentient emotional being capable of controlling it, just like Lu Lai himself. He leaps into the air and commands the giant fire monster. Do not think a newly transformed monster can defeat me. But the monster of Reason merely raises its black hole palm. Power pours from the void, swallowing and crushing the fire monster's ferocity. Lu Lai stares in disbelief. What just happened? Thuong Mac also looks at his hand in confusion. The woman explains that he still cannot control his emotional monster, so it has not truly entered the physical world. It is more like a projection from his mental realm. Lu Lai understands and laughs. I knew it. He cannot truly control it. His monster is still in the mind realm. Seizing the chance, he sends the fire monster charging at Thuong Mac. You're dead. The enormous flaming jaws close in. Thuong Mac looks tiny before them, like a helpless dessert. Lu Lai's triumphant smile suddenly freezes. The monster's teeth stop directly above Thuong Mac's head and cannot bite down even a millimeter. He stares in disbelief. The Queen of Reason explains smugly that Thuong Mac has suppressed anger for years, giving his reason extreme resistance to rage. This attack is no more than an itch to him. Humiliated, Lu Lai roars and forms a flaming tornado for another destructive attack. Thuong Mac wonders what to do. The enemy cannot injure him, but he cannot command his own monster and can only endure attacks. The woman advises, borrow its power. Adjusting his glasses, Thuong Mac smiles faintly. I understand. The fire monster charges again, but this time Thuong Mac does not dodge. He reaches out to meet it. Blue power erupts, splitting the raging flames in half and throwing Lu Lai through the air. He whispers hopelessly, how is this possible? Through the smoke, Thuong Mac strides forward. His right arm is now covered in sharp blue armor from the Monster of Reason. The armored claws radiate invisible pressure that ripples through the air. Lu Lai sweats and screams. He borrowed power from his emotional monster. Crawling backward like a defeated man, Lu Lai trembles. He destroyed my monster with only 2 fingers? How can a newly transformed being be this strong? I have to run. Thuong Mac stamps the floor, cracking it and launching himself forward at tremendous speed. Lu Lai looks back in despair as explosions shake the hall. Co-workers scream for them to slow down before they destroy everything. During the chase, Thuong Mac asks why Lu Lai can still use fire after his monster was defeated. The Queen explains emotional monsters do not die easily. It has only temporarily withdrawn from the physical world. A bright doorway suddenly opens ahead. Lu Lai flees through it, and Thuong Mac follows into a broad, silent corridor. The scene reveals the world-class cruise ship Emperor of the Sea, currently sailing off the coast of East Sea City. The Queen warns that chasing an emotional being aboard this ship is extremely dangerous. The internationally famous cruise liner travels worldwide and is currently a popular resort visiting East Sea City. Since the East Sea became black from supposed oil pollution, Emperor of the Sea is one of the few ships allowed to enter. Skyart was extravagant enough to hold a department gathering here, but the darker truth is that the ship is controlled by emotional beings. Emotional beings conduct transactions here, and the ship offers services catering to them, including hunting ordinary humans. Attacking one aboard this vessel challenges its owners. Lu Lai is also a super VIP. When Thuong Mac asks how strong security is, she says one little finger could crush him. Thuong Mac remains silent after the warning. Then he continues chasing with firm resolve. If I do not kill him now, I may never get another chance, and I cannot survive his revenge. Correct. The Queen agrees. The scene shifts to Emperor of the Sea's VIP lounge, displaying a horrifying artwork made from a skinned woman. A proud voice explains the sculpture. After a sorrowful girl died, her skin was removed to expose her bones, whose smiling shape gave the piece its impact. More shocking, the material came from a real girl, the daughter of a nation's prime minister. Blonde capitalist Victory presents it as a gift to Emperor of the Sea in gratitude for their cooperation. Captain Lu Jung laughs from his grand chair, praising Victory for capturing a market and immediately sending the prime minister's daughter. Anna Chris, smoking elegantly, admires the imaginative punishment inflicted on a leader who refused cooperation. Another glamorous woman studies the sculpture and praises its taste. The victim is identified as the second daughter of the Tong family of Great Xia. Nearby are Tong Tuesday and Bishop Tru Gan of East Sea City's Black Lotus cult. He asks curiously whether their expansion into Great Xia has already begun. Victory answers like a ruthless businessman. Corporations must advance or fall behind. He asks for their cooperation in Great Xia. Then a bespectacled subordinate reports to Captain Lu Jung that Lu Lai killed Skyart's art director. Then began another hunt. The prey transformed successfully and is now beating him badly. Tong Tuesday calls Lu Lai useless. Without his long service to their mysterious lord, someone of his rank would never be allowed to hunt freely here. Victory asks who that lord is. but she warns everyone to avoid prying into one another's secrets. Captain Lu Jung strokes his beard. Someone who can defeat Lu Lai immediately after transforming has impressive talent. He orders security to keep Lu Lai alive for their lord's reputation, block other emotional beings from approaching, and directly kill the unknown attacker. On the windy deck beneath the night sky, Thuong Mac drives a crushing punch into Lu Lai's face. The blow sends the villain skidding across the cold deck. Thuong Mac rushes forward, pins him down, and raises a blue blade condensed from reason. Your time has come. Blood filling his mouth, Lu Lai screams. Are you insane? You intend to kill me here? Thuong Mac answers with icy indifference. Yes. Facing death, Lu Lai begs desperately. Wait. I was wrong. Spare me, and I will agree to anything. Thuong Mac ignores him and drives the blade downward. Lu Lai shuts his eyes and screams a secret to save himself. I know who killed your mother. Kill me, and you will never learn the truth. The blade stops in midair. Its point hangs a breath away from Lu Lai's eye. Burning with rage, Thuong Mac grabs his neck and lifts him. He throws his head back and roars, releasing years of suppressed anger. Then he demands, Were you not the one who killed my mother? Lu Lai gasps that another emotional being appeared in their old neighborhood, spread an emotion virus, and hunted newly born monsters. That being infected Lu Lai but spared him, stabilized his transformation, and made him a subordinate. He shamelessly blames everything on his master. The master forced him to spread the virus, turn ordinary people into monsters, and kill them so their emotional power could be stolen. Thuong Mac narrows his eyes. Who is he, and where is he now? Mentioning his patron makes Lu Lai arrogant again. He is now a highly respected great figure. If he learns you killed me, you will die too. He is. Before speaking the name, Lu Lai's pupils contract as though he has sensed something horrifying. Terror devours his arrogance. Sweating, he steps back and stammers, No, I cannot say it. That lord will never forgive me. Thuong Mac silently considers the hidden secret, then coldly drives the blue blade downward. Then die. A strange voice suddenly speaks with absolute authority. I command your heart to stop. An invisible force grips Thuong Mac's heart, freezing his body in agony. His vision fades behind his glasses. He loses the strength to finish the strike and collapses onto the cold deck, dropping his prey at the threshold of death. Polished shoes approach through the silence. Lu Lai crawls up, his miserable life saved. The newcomer is a bespectacled man in a suit who bows politely. My lord, forgive me for arriving late. Lu Lai asks in confusion, You know me? The manager answers calmly, Yes. Emperor of the Sea will do everything possible to serve you. With support restored, Lu Lai's arrogant smile returns. He immediately stomps on Thuong Mac's motionless head. Weren't you impressive? You wanted to kill me? Come on, kill me. His foot presses harder, grinding the young man into humiliation. But Thuong Mac suddenly pushes himself upright, startling Lu Lai. Even the suited manager cannot hide his surprise. He did not die? Panting, Thuong Mac studies his hand. What happened just now? The Queen of Reason explains that this is the emotional power of pride, command. The man directly ordered his heart to stop. Thuong Mac frowns. Isn't that invincible? She explains that the man's emotional rank is 2 major levels above his, so disobedience is naturally difficult. Without Reason's resistance to all emotions, he would already be dead. In short, this is an opponent Thuong Mac absolutely cannot defeat right now. He stands silently on the windy deck, keeping a cool head before 2 enemies beyond his level. He asks why he cannot see the manager's emotional monster. The queen explains that it remains deep inside the mental realm, the true home of emotional monsters. Thuong Mac's monster had previously stood between mind and reality, making it visible. Once deeper within the mental realm, it becomes difficult to observe. Seeing Thuong Mac alive, Lu Lai becomes arrogant again. That brat has 9 lives. Better this way. You know what to do. The manager nods and commands coldly. Kneel. An invisible force throws Thuong Mac down. Sweat pours from him as he resists, but he cannot oppose the command. The queen explains that pride's commands are harder to resist when they cause less direct harm. The greater the rank difference, the harder refusal becomes. Thuong Mac is forced onto one knee as Lu Lai's leather shoe approaches his face. Lu Lai slaps him violently, knocking his glasses crooked. Thuong Mac lowers his head and endures the humiliation, though his eyes remain calm and murderous. Lu Lai mocks him. Weren't you powerful? Revenge? Your mother was only a lowly civilian. We could do anything we wanted to her. Let me tell you exactly what happened the day she transformed. He remembers that she was unusually calm that day. She went shopping and cooked tomato beef stew, Thuong Mac's favorite meal, hoping to apologize for her recent anger. Then blood splattered everywhere, even across the ceiling, and the stew was destroyed. The cruel truth is that his mother was chosen because their lord casually suggested using the single mother next door as the next prey. Lu Lai pretends he protested because she had once helped him when he was poor and brought him food. But his hidden cruelty emerged. Watching her lose control and seeing Thuong Mac fall from happiness into despair gradually became enjoyable. He screams that it was the pleasure of ruling another person's life. If he wanted her to transform, she transformed. If he wanted her to become food, she became food. Facing his mother's murderer, Thuong Mac pulls a sharp blue blade from his glasses and prepares to attack. The manager immediately commands, "Stop all movement." Thuong Mac's body freezes in midair. The manager continues mercilessly, "Kneel and bow your head to the floor." Under invisible pressure, Thuong Mac is forced forward until his knees and forehead strike the deck. He lies prostrate, completely helpless before the enormous rank difference. The manager steps aside. Now I want him to do it himself. Lu Lai answers eagerly, "Yes, Lord Songhai." Looking down at Thuong Mac, he offers, "Swear to become my dog." His twisted smile widens. "Bark twice and you may live. Otherwise die." Silence covers the deck. One man triumphant, one watching with folded arms, and one enduring humiliation. Inside his mind, Thuong Mac asks the Queen of Reason, "What is the plan?" She replies, "What plan?" Looking down at him, she smiles. "Shouldn't I be asking you?" Thuong Mac analyzes rapidly. She transformed him, knows him well, and even understands Lu Lai and the ship. She must have anticipated this. "Tell me your condition. I will accept anything." In reality, Lu Lai loses patience and steps harder on Thuong Mac's head. "Bark." The queen's red lips curve into a satisfied, enchanting smile. She turns into black power and merges with him. "You only need to be willing to accept my power." A colossal blue pillar erupts like a volcano and throws both enemies away. Standing inside the light, Thuong Mac slowly raises his head and feels power surging through his veins. Sharp blue crystals pierce through his glasses and burst from his eyes with a liberating roar. The villains stare at one another in panic. The manager sweats. His emotional power is rising rapidly. He has lost control. Thuong Mac floats into the quiet night sky, surrounded by a brilliant aura. The surrounding world becomes a galaxy filled with stars. Floating there, he calmly analyzes sadness, happiness, surprise, excitement. He can no longer feel any of them. Everything has become calculation alone. Above his head floats a colossal black mass radiating suffocating pressure. His eyes behind the lenses turn deep blue and completely emotionless. Blue crystal fragments drift upward like pieces of discarded human emotion. Childhood memories race past. Thuong Mac and his mother happily playing games together on the sofa. His mother lies on the warm floor coloring with him. Later, she struggles with a huge garbage bag, while little Thuong Mac follows carrying a tiny one. She rolls up her sleeves and jokingly shows her muscles during peaceful days. Then comes his father's funeral, where young Thuong Mac cries beside the coffin among silent figures. The memories continue. The boy sits alone with his knees drawn up, radiating loneliness. A warm hand gently strokes his head. It is his mother. She smiles and raises a fist to encourage him. Then an invisible bottle strikes her head and shatters the warm moment. She holds her son's face, weeping helplessly. Rage begins devouring her mind, and she pushes him away to protect him from herself. She swings a stick with a twisted, uncontrolled face, nearly striking the child she loves most. Then she collapses and cries in remorse as he watches in shock. Finally, her headless body lies in a pool of blood on the kitchen floor. The painful memories end with the mastermind's perverse smile. Back in reality, blood vessels spread through Thuong Mac's eyes behind his cracked glasses. The lenses shatter, revealing one beautiful golden eye and signaling complete transformation. Floating in the galaxy, Thuong Mac studies his hands. The Queen of Reason nods approvingly. His blood tumor had accumulated enough anger to preserve his identity while using her power. She warns him, "At critical moments, you must abandon reason to use the power of reason. Otherwise, you will lose control and become a monster of reason." Smiling mysteriously, she tells him to enjoy his revenge. Blue crystal fragments rise away, revealing his calm face and brilliant golden eyes. The giant pillar of power suddenly contracts and pours back into his body. The deck becomes silent again under the stars. Lulai laughs stupidly. What was that? His emotional power disappeared. I thought he was impressive. The bespectacled manager reacts differently, sweating in terror. No, it did not disappear. The monster of reason and its countless chains now covers the entire Emperor of the Sea. The manager concludes that its level has risen beyond their ability to perceive. Invisible pressure spreads through the ship. In a flashing nightclub, dancing guests suddenly collapse to their knees without understanding why. A pale young man supports himself on the floor and gasps. What kind of power is this? In a luxurious restaurant, a diner watches the distant city through the window. His steak plate cracks, and his hands tremble. He realizes a world-class emotional being is releasing power aboard the ship and wonders whether someone is declaring war on Emperor of the Sea. In the VIP lounge, wealthy figures whisper about whether this person intends to start a war with the organization behind the ship. Captain Lu Jung and the others stare tensely at the golden light outside. Anna Chris murmurs, "World-class." Victory wonders what other world-class figure is aboard and why they came. Tong Tuesday suspects an ally of the person who attacked Lu Lai, perhaps connected to their revered lord. Captain Lu Jung reassures everyone that anyone who offends Emperor of the Sea will die. He turns with cold eyes and promises that even a world-class figure will be killed. On the windy deck, Thuong Mac floats in the air, radiating pressure that paralyzes the two enemies below. Lu Lai screams in panic, unable to understand a power beyond perception. The manager's teeth chatter. He also believed it impossible, but can faintly see the invisible force. Looking at the blue energy pouring down like a disaster, the manager identifies world-class pressure and shouts for them to flee. In the next instant, Thuong Mac stands there holding the bloodied heads of the manager and Lu Lai. Their headless bodies collapse onto the cold deck. He throws the heads down and remarks that it was too easy. The queen teases him for twisting their heads off immediately. Thuong Mac replies that it was not enough. He should have tortured Lu Lai to death. She laughs approvingly. Only such extremes can control her reason. Thuong Mac's eyes flash coldly when the queen whispers, "Do not rush. The real performance is only beginning." A gigantic foot slams onto the deck, sending golden lightning racing everywhere. He silently watches the glowing lines spread beneath his feet like tree roots. The golden network rapidly covers the entire massive structure of Emperor of the Sea. From the ship's core, a colossal golden emotional monster shaped like a tree god on a magnificent throne emerges. Thuong Mac looks up in surprise. The queen explains that the ship itself is an emotional being. That is why their violent battle caused no damage. This is its true form. How much of the world's true appearance one can see depends on one's strength, and only by borrowing her power can Thuong Mac glimpse it. Beneath the throne, Captain Lu Jung spreads his arms proudly. This is the true power of Emperor of the Sea. The brilliant golden monster releases waves of dazzling energy. The bearded captain judges Thuong Mac coldly. "So you are the reckless world-class figure. Prepare to die." Like a ritual, he chants that every insult in the universe must be punished. Golden lights surround Thuong Mac. The captain and monster speak as one. All things must submit, and violations must be paid for in blood. Thuong Mac realizes the captain strengthens his commands through chanting. The golden monster declares, "By my command, the space around the intruder shall solidify." A gigantic block of golden space descends and imprisons Thuong Mac. It continues the judgment. Golden swords descend as a second command declares that all emotional power within the frozen space will be reduced by half. The hardened space fills with enormous golden blades, becoming an inescapable death cage. Captain Lu Jung strokes his beard and scoffs that the enemy overestimated himself. From above, Victory says the result was decided too quickly and mocks the world-class opponent's inexperience. Anna Chris agrees that allowing such a long command to complete was foolish. Though the monster of reason is unfamiliar, with its power halved, even a world-class being should not escape. Capturing him is only a matter of time. Then a crack suddenly appears across the supposedly indestructible golden block. Victory and Anna Chris's confident expressions freeze in disbelief. Captain Lu Jung stares as a deafening explosion tears space apart. The blue monster of reason crushes the golden prison and scatters the giant swords. Through the debris, Thuong Mac's golden eyes blaze with lethal coldness. Without hesitation, he raises his right arm to counterattack. The gigantic monster of reason mirrors him, lifting its arm and gathering brilliant, deep blue energy. Thuong Mac chops downward like a sword. The monster of reason splits space and shatters Emperor of the Sea's golden defense. The shockwave throws everything aside and forces Captain Lu Jung to brace himself against the storm. Blue light strikes the sea and cuts a deep trench as though dividing the ocean. Terrifying power swirls across the black water and raises a blue hurricane. On the upper deck, Anna, Chris, and Victory struggle to remain standing as their clothes whip violently. Lu Jung pants, his face trembling before the escaped entity. From above, the attack has not only split the sea but devastated a broad area of the East Sea. At the storm's center, Thuong Mac stands proudly, wrapped in blue flames of reason, his golden eyes unmoving. The captain mutters that Thuong Mac escaped even in this state and possesses an unknown emotional monster. Why did he board the ship, and what does he want from the corporation behind it? After tense calculation, the captain regains his vicious expression. He roars that motives do not matter. Anyone obstructing them must die. Guards! The great golden monster repeats the command. For golden guardian statues carrying sharp spears leap out and surround Thuong Mac. But the monster of reason expands its blades and blocks every attack. The void black hole in its face spins and devours surrounding power with one motion. A blue shockwave scatters the golden guards. Thuong Mac's gaze remains icy as he ignores the insignificant soldiers. Seeing his subordinates fail, the captain roars, "Stop!" Absolute prohibition activates again, forcing Thuong Mac to freeze mid-step. Seizing that half-second opening, the golden guards drive their spears through his body, pinning him in place. Strangely, Thuong Mac merely looks down without showing pain. With a casual sweep, as though brushing away insects, he snaps and throws aside every golden spear. He lowers his head and stands motionless among the giant statues. Captain Lu Jung opens his mouth and roars another command to press the attack. Before he can celebrate, the monster of reason's great blade sweeps across and sends the captain flying like dust over the sea. Lu Jung falls weightlessly beneath the destructive blue blade while Thuong Mac floats calmly. A chain from the monster of reason drags the wretched captain through the air. The captain struggles in rage and desperation. Thuong Mac raises a blue claw and aims at his prey with razor-sharp eyes. Cornered, Lu Jung summons countless golden spears. Thuong Mac simply extends one hand and opens the void black hole to swallow every attack. A foolish golden guard charges and is crushed by the blue monster's hand. Dozens of spears are also consumed completely, leaving no fragments. Over the ocean, Thuong Mac resembles a god commanding a black hole, easily crushing the captain's golden defenses. Above him, the monster of reason overwhelms the golden throne entity. However, every power has a price. After the destructive attacks, Thuong Mac's stamina falls sharply. The captain notices and smiles, believing he can still win. He calculates that there are few places to hide at sea, and he may capture Thuong Mac alive. Identifying his monster would be a great achievement for the corporation. Then the queen appears with bad news. Her power is nearly exhausted. When Thuong Mac asks what to do, she answers calmly, "Run." Without hesitation, Thuong Mac grabs a chain and swings himself over the side. Urged to move, he dives straight into the deep sea. Captain Lu Jung watches in disbelief. Is that bastard insane? He fled in that direction. Deep below, Thuong Mac struggles through the freezing water. His pupils suddenly widen at something horrifying on the ocean floor. Through the murky water, a gigantic structure shaped like a monster's head with a bottomless black hole appears in the abyss. His golden eyes flicker abnormally. An orange ring of flame spreads and begins invading the cold golden pupils. Calm reason gradually disappears, replaced by rage burning from deep within. Despite the change, he grits his teeth and continues toward the black abyss. The scene below is terrifying. A colossal shadow monster coils around countless skyscrapers sunk beneath the ocean. Across the cracked seabed, enormous dark hands reach upward as though demanding lives. Through absolute vision, the sky above the submerged city appears as a gigantic vortex around a strange black hole. Two opposing worlds emerge, the vast ocean with deep blue hands, and a black abyss with golden fire ready to devour everything. Seeing the world's true form, Thuong Mac murmurs that he had believed only people were sick. Blood slowly leaks from the corner of his golden eye. But blinding pain forces him to clutch his head and scream. The world is so rotten that not only people, but the sea, city, earth, and sky are all diseased. Thuong Mac falls, staring numbly into the thick black sea awaiting him. On the deck, Captain Lu Jung sees blood from his eyes and realizes his borrowed power exceeds what his body can bear. He concludes that Thuong Mac cannot withstand the truth he is seeing. Seizing the chance, the captain attacks the falling Thuong Mac. The Queen of Reason embraces him and urges him to close his eyes. Borrowing her power can reveal fragments of truth, but he cannot bear them yet. Falling together, she says, "Let me take control of your body." From above, the golden monster and guards dive after them with spears. Thuong Mac suddenly opens his eyes with an arrogant smile as the queen takes full control. The monster of reason releases blue energy and easily destroys the pursuing attacks. Captain Lu Jun gapes at the reversal. A gigantic blue hand rises from the sea and slaps toward the ship, making him scream. He cannot believe Thuong Mac's emotional monster can control the Black Sea. The monster of reason parts the waves and creates a deep protected space. Amid the raging ocean, Thuong Mac kneels safely on a crystallized blue surface of seawater. He coughs violently. The queen asks if he is all right, and he answers breathlessly, "I'm fine." He touches his face and realizes something is missing. "My glasses." The queen explains that his glasses symbolize reason in his subconscious. Once his emotions calm, reason regains control and the glasses return. They immediately reform on his nose. He asks what happened to the East Sea City, and the thing in the sky. She reveals that the world underwent enormous changes long ago, but his level was too low to know. News claims an oil spill blackened the East Sea, but the true source is an emotional being. Years ago, a major battle caused a world-class depression being to lose control and become the thick black water. It sank countless carriers and warships. The face below is its true form. The whole world is now controlled by emotional beings, so EC City naturally contains several terrifying ones, including the ship and the monster behind Thuong Mac. Looking up at the blazing vortex in the sky, she reveals that if her guess is correct, it is envy. Thuong Mac asks what she means. The queen realizes he cannot even comprehend it at his current level. His soul is too weak to endure such greatness, and forcing understanding may destroy his mind. Shaken, he asks whether this is the truth behind emotional disease, and concludes the disease is only the tip of the iceberg. She warns that after seeing the world's truth, he can never return to a peaceful life. Blood, fire, and danger will follow him. Looking through the cracked lens, she asks cautiously, "I pulled you into this. Do you hate me?" Memories of power tearing through the ocean flash through his mind. Thuong Mac narrows his eyes. "No, I am actually grateful. I know you have your own purpose, but I have never felt so exhilarated." Kneeling on one knee upon the calm water, he says, "It feels like rebirth." After speaking honestly, he asks, "Then tell me who you truly are and what you want from me." Deep Lee's deep blue eyes lower, and she smiles with unexpected gentleness. In the blue galactic space, she begins, "I am only a wandering soul." For many years, she wandered throughout the city. No one could see or speak to her. Her body gradually fragmented as reason withered and her power faded. She lost many memories and eventually forgot everything except her own name. I was like a wild flame without fuel, destined to be extinguished. Hope appears in her deep blue eyes. Until I met you. She recalls accidentally colliding with him on the street and apologizing because she was late. For all those years, only Thuong Mac spoke to her, touched her, and possessed the qualification to carry her reason. If I am a wild flame, you are a furnace. Beside you, I can preserve myself and avoid fading. That is why she approached him disguised as a co-worker, helped investigate his mother's death, and spent all her power protecting him aboard Emperor of the Sea. She takes his hand and proposes a bargain. I will help you obtain everything you desire, wealth, power, status, anything. In exchange, you must become strong enough to look directly at the secret in the sky and uncover it. Privately, she knows the most important missing part of herself is there. Returning him to reality, she smiles brightly. Let us introduce ourselves again. My name is Deep Lie, and today is also my rebirth. She offers her hand, and Thuong Mac's lips slowly form a rare smile. Their hands clasp, forming a new alliance beneath the rising dawn. Thuong Mac, this is our rebirth. The scene shifts to a small rubber boat leaving the giant ship. Tong Tuesday asks whether they identified him, and Bishop Trugon says it was surprisingly easy. In a VIP room, a profile is read aloud. Thuong Mac, 18, an artist at Sky Art Group in EC City. His mother died when he was 10, apparently hunted by Lu Lai. According to annual health reports, he was still an ordinary person in March. Tong Tuesday rejects the conclusion. His ability to fight Emperor of the Sea shows at least world-class strength, and such growth within months should be impossible. She asks whether his power is borrowed. The bishop agrees, remembering Thuong Mac's bleeding eyes during the battle. If the power were truly his, seeing the thing in the sky would not have caused that reaction. She licks her lips with interest. Borrowing power capable of controlling the black sea means someone extraordinary stands behind him. Looking at the boat disappearing over the ocean, she notes that the captain also asked them to investigate. Then she stretches and says they should leave because she is not world-class yet, and staying up late still damages her skin. Bishop Trugon adjusts his glasses and asks whether they will ignore the boy. Tong Tuesday smiles maliciously. With the Tong family's influence in Great Xia, neither Thuong Mac nor the being lending him power can escape. Greed fills her smile. We must seize this power for our lord. The others repeat the pledge. At dawn, Thuong Mac and Deep Lie appear in a desolate forest and discuss their next plan. Deep Lie explains that although Lu Lai is dead, the person who ordered him to kill Thuong Mac's mother is still alive. She must find the mysterious lord he mentioned. Thuong Mac understands that this hidden mastermind is too dangerous for him to confront now. Their first priority is finding shelter. The forces connected to the ship are certainly hunting them. Deep Lie's power is almost exhausted, and another world-class enemy would finish them. Furthermore, Thuong Mac has offended the organizations behind Emperor of the Sea, and the uniqueness of his emotional power alone will attract countless greedy enemies. While walking through the forest, Thuong Mac suddenly cries out. Deep Lie asks what happened. Remembering his identity as a wage worker, he sweats and says he was supposed to work today, but is already late. Then he realizes the entire project team is dead, so there may no longer be any work to do. He laments that he wasted a perfect chance to be paid without working. Now he may be counted absent, fired, and denied wages. How will he support himself for the rest of his life? Faced with such painfully practical worries, Queen Deep Lie is left speechless.